Okay, welcome guys to my channel. Please, if you are new here, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button. This channel is all about mathematics and solving mathematics questions such as Olympiad questions and JAM questions for those who are in Nigeria. And I want to use this opportunity to appreciate those who have subscribed to my channel and those who have been watching my videos. And please, if you have not subscribed and you are meeting this channel the very first time, please do well to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button. Like what I said earlier, the purpose of this channel is to solve mathematical problems and solve mathematical challenges such as algebraic questions, uh, calculus, and many more mathematics you are really interested in. Okay, so the name of this channel remains Bright Brains Integral, where problems of mathematics are being resolved. So the purpose of me doing this live is for the essence of those who are seeing mathematics as a challenge. So if you are seeing mathematics as a problem, you are seeing mathematics as a challenge, as a challenging subject, that means this live video is for you. So please don't just pass by. Okay, so the I'm going to give some few advice and some few talks on how you can improve your mathematical abilities or your interest in mathematics. Before I started solving mathematics, I was a student who was not really good in mathematics. In fact, was not good in mathematics. We find mathematics as a challenging subject. It gives us headache. We failed it most times. There are sometimes assignments will be given to us in mathematics. I'm not going to submit the assignment not because I was not in school, but because I couldn't solve it. And since I couldn't solve it, and the time frame to copy from others is not there, I will just decide not to submit like that. So it becomes challenging, and I see it as an hindrance to every of my subjects I was offering as a then. So what I did, the first thing I did to be acquainted to mathematics was to make the decision to solve mathematics. Mathematics became interested to me. In fact, I became interested rather in mathematics because I made the decision to find mathematics interesting. So one thing that helps me is the decision I make that mathematics is a core subject that I must work with. So when I make that decision to start solving mathematics, I've made the decision to solve mathematics. I also made the decision to buy books on mathematics. So the very first book I bought in mathematics rather was a mathematics past questions, because then I was in J3 according to Nigeria academical grading in J3. So when I was in J3, I bought mathematics past questions, and I was solving mathematics from that past question. So every time I look into that past questions, there are some critical challenges, some critical mathematics questions I will come across. I will pick these questions and solve myself. And I found out that 95% of the questions I'm picking, I'm still feeling there, except for those easy questions that you can just solve at a glance. But those difficult questions, I'm still finding them difficult to answer. And most times, the past questions are filled with those kind of questions that are very critical and mind thinking to solve. So after passing through those process using the mathematics past question, the past questions in mathematics, I decided to go for another mathematical textbook. So I bought a J3 mathematics textbook where I started learning some basic mathematics principles such as multiplication of numbers, addition of numbers, division of numbers, and subtraction of numbers. So another thing again, aside decision making, the next thing I did after making decision to be interested in maths, to find maths interesting, was to was to practice. Yes, was to practice. So I practice mathematics on daily basis, solve math questions, go to other of my colleagues, give them questions. So I keep practicing. Yes, I keep practicing because there there's this popular saying that says, practice make perfect. Practice make perfect. The more you practice, the more you know the hints and the principle behind everything. So not just only in mathematics, but in every discipline of learning. So if you want to be very good in anything, the principle of practice shouldn't be neglected. So the principle of practice also worked in mathematics by me applying the principle of what practice. So I practiced, solve questions, reading, studying, looking at different past questions, looking at different textbooks, looking at different edition, looking at different authors in mathematics. So after then, I became a good at it, little bit good at it. Then was not really good as at now. So I after then I started. So I wrote my rather I wrote my J3 exam. So after the exam, I got into SS1, which is the senior secondary school, the first level of senior secondary school. So after then, I started studying mathematics again. So now a strong knowledge and a strong foundation for mathematics is not required for me in SS1, because if I must succeed in SS2 and SS3, a strong foundation in mathematics is needed. So what I decided then was to buy new textbooks on mathematics. Now I am no longer in J3 but in SS1. So the first book I bought then was an hidden facts, a textbook called Hidden Facts in Mathematics. Hidden Facts in Mathematics. And I've forgotten the name of the author, but I know the name of the textbook is Hindi Facts. Hindi Facts. So that was the textbook I started solving maths, because in that textbook there were different topics in mathematics and practice problems and examples and a lot more. Even sometimes past questions is added to it. So after solving mathematics from that textbook, and I discovered that due to my practice and consistency, I became acquainted and familiar with the basic mathematical rules. So from there, I started solving a lot of problems in mathematics. So during one time in class, I I and my friends were discussing, and he asked me a question if I can solve. So I told him solve. To me, solve is not difficult. I can solve. So he gave me questions. I solved it. Then he said, "There's this textbook called further maths, that if I've heard about it." I was like, strange to hear this. Further maths? Is there anything called further maths? And he said, yes. So he said, in further maths, I can find more questions in solve and solve. So so when I realized about further maths, I wrote the name further maths down. So I went home and started looking for further maths. So after then, I did I but no, my mom gave me project one of further maths. So after the project one, I saw so many questions on further maths. I started solving questions on further maths, problems of further maths, and a lot more on further maths. So I bought project one. No, my mom gave me project one. I started solving. Then project two was also given to me by my mom, and project three somebody else gave it to me. So with project one, project two, project three, I started solving questions on further mathematics. I started learning different topics, even topics that are in physics textbook. I started seeing them in further maths. Resolution of forks, projectile, and meeting first law, second law, and third law of motions. I saw those questions in further maths. And then I was still doing physics. So when I saw them in further maths, I was surprised. Then it gives me a more desire to solve further maths questions. So then I learned further maths myself, not because I am gifted, but because I made the decision to do so. So you can equally do the same and you can be successful in mathematics. So this is my little advice to those who are watching. Thank you and remain blessed.